This video is sponsored by Squarespace.
Yeah, some things happened and went viral this past weekend, and that's with Sanji and Zoro, of course. And so it's time for some more non-toxic Sanji and Zoro discourse. Somebody did DM me and say, hey, what the f is taking you so long for making a video? So that is inspired by that as well. So yeah, One Piece is back. We get a chapter in a few days, but I wanted to talk about this just because it was so prevalent in the comment section from when I reacted to the episode. Link below if you want to go check out the reaction. That is basically when Zoro stopped the Seraphim and when Sanji saved Edison. It was a major moment in the manga, but in the anime, it was not that big of a deal. And Zoro fans were ecstatic, and of course Sanji fans were a bit perturbed. Was Sanji fans right, or was Zoro fans right? I went back, I watched the anime episode, and went back and read the manga, and I have my conclusion. You guys can agree or disagree. Typically that's what you're gonna do, but let's go through the evidence and see, did the animators screw over Sanji as they typically do and gas Zoro, which I don't mind? I mean, let's be honest though.
In the One Piece world and in our own world, everyone has dreams. And for some of those dreams, influence matters. I mean, what would Big News Morgans have to do all day if no one checked into his newspapers? And with today's sponsor, Squarespace, you can create a powerful and beautiful online platform to do just that. Connect with your audience and generate revenue through gated members-only content. Manage your members, send email communications, and leverage audience insights all on one easy-to-use platform. Create a community on your Squarespace website with a fully integrated commenting system that supports threaded comments, replies, and likes. Use their powerful blogging tools to categorize, share, and schedule your posts too. Go to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/BDA law to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain.
Sanji versus Queen was amazing. It was a show. Sanji did his sting, right? It was beautiful. But Zoro versus King was a masterpiece. Arguably the best episode of last year. So I don't want to overstate this, but the animators typically lean on the side of Zoro. And no animator has ever told me this. That's just from what I see. Zoro's just, I guess, the hype tool. And then even in the anime, something that they did in the manga, Marco specifically says, the stars are here. In the anime, Marco says the star is here. And then they go to Zoro. So I don't want to say it's biased against Sanji. The evidence is mounting up. Not saying this time was that, but we're going to talk about it. First, I want to go to the comment section of my reaction channel because, well, wow. Okay, someone said, yeah, the Sanji fans were mad that the panel which they misinterpreted was shockingly not animated how they thought it would be. Zoro was not surprised by his speed. He was looking at the Seraphim and was confused why they stopped fighting. The anime made it very clear. Someone responded and said, yeah, I don't get this either. In the manga, Zoro clashed with S-Hawk. They both pushed each other away, and then Zoro and Sanji landed in the same area, and Zoro notices they stopped fighting all of a sudden. He does not even look at Sanji, so I don't get the speed blitz argument some people have made. Someone also said, they're so desperate, they start to not understand panels. And someone obviously defending Sanji says, both sides do it. We had Zoro fans suddenly forgetting that Lucci stalled him out of King of Hell mode. Okay, it gets a bit more toxic, but you get the gist. People are arguing that the anime misinterpreted the scene, and obviously the Zoro fans were arguing that Sanji fans were reaching per usual. What's the truth? Well, let's go to the anime. Well, actually, let's start with the manga, because that's the source material, so we can start there. And it's chapter 1073. So of course, we know what happens. I think we do. They're trying to blow up the lab, and of course, S-Hawk, he then sees Lilith and then sends a slash, or he's about to attack Lilith, and then Zoro sees it and then gets in the way and stops S-Hawk. They have a quick clash, and Zoro mentions that S-Hawk, he seems a bit more human than Mihawk, which is implying that Mihawk doesn't really have a soul. I was gonna say a heart, but that doesn't sound right. Mihawk is way more of an animal than S-Hawk, and S-Hawk might not even be a human. Definitely isn't human. So Zoro was complimenting Mihawk, while someone looking at S-Hawk like, you're not as hot as you think you are, because S-Hawk was spreading to Zoro and Blackbeard was spreading to S-Hawk. And this is the same Blackbeard that basically dominated Law for the most part. Law got his shots off. This is me just throwing agenda out there because I have Zoro over Law and I'm just throwing things into the universe so people can start to come to my side. It doesn't matter at all. It's besides the point. Now, after that moment between Zoro and S-Hawk, Edison for whatever reason decides to jump in and says he'll handle this. S-Shark then sees him and fires a laser. Now, in that specific moment, the laser's already fired and then we see an explosion. Lilith then screams Edison and thought Edison got blown up. Right after that moment, Sanji lands slightly behind Zoro with Edison and then shows him to Lilith and then they start celebrating. Now for this panel, people were specifically saying Sanji moved so fast that Zoro did not even understand or know Sanji was there. And Zoro saying was reacting to Sanji as opposed to whatever else was going on. Now, the anime pretty much just shows that Sanji saved Edison. However, we gotta call out the anime a little bit. moment. And this is not me picking the side of the Sanji fans because I'm a Sanji and Zoro fan, so saying Sanji fans is kind of crazy. Because typically if you like Sanji, you like Zoro. At least that's what I thought. I guess you got to pick a side. I will not because that's stupid. I like Zoro and Sanji. But let's point out something. This specific panel of Sanji landing behind Zoro, this is, in my opinion, is Oda trying to give Sanji a moment after Zoro just got 1, 2, if not 3 epic moments from stopping Kaku while being asleep, waking up and bodying Kaku, and then jumping in front of S-Hawk, and then commenting that S-Hawk is kind of child's play because he's not even close to the real thing. So it was a span of Zoro going crazy in the manga, and of course in the anime. In my opinion, this was Oda giving Sanji a moment. I don't want to say throwing Sanji a bone, but giving Sanji a moment, and I think it was meant to showcase both things. I don't think Zoro was surprised that Sanji was back there. I think he was reacting to S-Hawk not attacking anymore. But in the same vein, Sanji landing behind him was supposed to be a cool chivalrous moment because this is just what Sanji does. He saves people and he looks cool while doing it. This is not a slight towards Zoro, but this was a moment for Sanji. And in my opinion, I don't think the anime, after rereading this scene, did a good job of portraying that. I think you could have done it in a way where you gave Sanji his moment, showing just how insane the feat was because he moved after the laser was fired, but he never really got that. We don't even see this exact shot in the anime. The anime spaces everything out way more. They make Sanji land and show Edison, and then Lilith reunites with Edison, and then they show Zoro saying, So they completely separate the scenes, which I think would have been a cool moment if we see Zoro there and Sanji landing behind him. Granted, I can understand if you're a Sanji fan, you were really looking forward to this scene because this was a dope moment, and you wanted to get a one-up on Zoro fans saying, hey, look at Zoro, you can't even follow Sanji. But that was never the point of the scene. However, the animators, I don't think, did a great job of portraying just how epic that moment was, considering just how fast Sanji moved in that moment. From where he was to save Edison to get back to the ground, it just completely undermined that scene, even though the intent was definitely not to show up Zoro. But I think that scene was not done the best that it could have been. Now, Zoro fans, they're correct here. Sanji fans were just wrong. Zoro was not surprised at Sanji's speed at all. He was surprised that S-Hawk stopped attacking. That was the real reason. But Sanji fans, they do have a reason to feel slighted considering the track record of the anime and how this moment, I thought it was pretty cool in the manga. A lot of people thought it was. It didn't have the same feel in the anime at all. Guys, for the most part, this is much ado about nothing. This is not important at all. I mean, I guess it's somewhat important because you hope for consistency and you like for some of your favorite scenes to be animated in a way that shows what exactly is trying to be portrayed here. This is one of the few moments where I feel like they did not get it right in regards to how it should have been portrayed in regards to Sanji. But in my opinion, they of course talk to Oda in regards to these things, not for every specific thing. I don't think this is that big of a deal to even reach out to Oda or have like these meetings with Oda. But I would say that for this moment, because it was somewhat confusing, they wanted to make sure that it was clear what was happening. So they completely separated the scenes. Sanji saves Edison, then Zoro reacts to the Seraphim and them not moving anymore. They wanted to be clear about this scene. So honestly, because of how ambiguous it is, I could see them actually reaching out to say, hey, maybe not to Oda himself, but maybe his editor, like, hey, what were you guys trying to imply at this point? And at the end of the day, Sanji fans, you gotta just chalk it up to the fact that the animators, they know more, at least the anime director, they know more than we do. And they have closer connections to understand and decipher the scenes, even though I felt like the scene could have been done better on Sanji's part. So that's my conclusion. I gotta give Zoro fans a W here. It's not about Sanji. It was about the Seraphim. Even though Sanji fans, I understand. They don't even use this exact moment. This moment with Zoro and Sanji is not in the anime. They completely split it up. So I get it, but they wanted to make sure that you guys understood exactly what was going on. So yeah, that is it. This was fun. I enjoyed talking One Piece, guys. But yeah, like the video. Let me know how you felt about it. Please try not to be toxic. I know that's saying something, but it's not going to lead to people not being toxic because it's just ingrained when it comes to Zoro versus Sanji arguments or debates. I don't even know why I'm making this. I know. We all know. But either way, it was great talking to you guys again. A lot of One Piece stuff on the way because I have more things to talk about. But yeah, like the video, subscribe, and yeah, we'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.